Okay, welcome everybody. This is Dr. Sami here. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
Nice to meet you, Dr. Sami.
Nice to meet you guys. So welcome. This is a pretty informal session. So I'll just introduce myself and then our team a little bit here. And so the idea of this session is I was actually in your shoes, exactly where you are right now, whatever stage that is, many, many years ago. And so what I want to do is be a resource for you guys, answer questions, tell you about what we do and how we can help you on your journey, right? So I started off, when I went to med school, I went to St. George's in Grenada. There's a Caribbean med school. And, I was an IMG. I did my USMLEs. I applied to radiology residency. I got in. It never affected me once I got into my residency, into my practice and whatnot. So the same can happen for you. Like if you're right now thinking about whatever specialty, if it's radiology or anything, there's a tremendous amount of potential in U.S. medicine, not just as a practicing doctor, but also as a medical entrepreneur. And we've done that here at Chicago Colorado over many years. So that's kind of the backdrop. I want to introduce some of my colleagues here. I have Rhonda Clark, who's my Chief Operating Officer. There's Rhonda.
Hi, everybody.
And then I have Jennifer McCosh, who's one of my directors here as well. So,
hi, everyone.
So what I thought we'd do is we'd stop talking and we'll just have you guys answer questions or ask questions of us, and we'll do our best to answer, because I'm sure you guys probably have questions. And so we thought we'd start off with a question answer, and then we can go into different topics as we need to.
So I just want to say some of you we know, like I know Natalie, she did a externship with us, and so did
Yes.
Vlad did externship rotation with us.
Yes.
So maybe those of you that we don't know, if you just wanted to do a quick introduction so we know kind of where you're coming from, what your goals are, in ways that we can help give you advice and anything like that.
Sounds good. Let's start with me. I'm Dr. Oleg Kruglov, MD, old grad, 15 years ago, working as a research assistant in University of Pittsburgh, studying dermato-oncology. So I'm doing DermPath research currently for 5 years. And I've passed my USMLEs this year and gonna apply to residency next season. And in my past, I was a radiologist. So
oh wow, that's great.
Yeah, so it's kind of jumping back and forth from radiology to dermatology, pathology. I'm gonna jumping back in radiology. And it's gonna be this season because I just recently passed the last exam.
Got it. Okay. And are you applying for radiology residency?
Yes. I'm currently doing my shadowing in UPMC hospital. It just start this Monday.
Okay. Awesome. Great. Nice to meet you, Vlad. Who else do we have?
Welcome.
Yeah.
Anybody can go next and just do a quick introduction.
Go ahead, Saba Aslam. Is he there?
Hi. Hi, everybody. I'm Saba. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes.
Actually, I met Dr. Sami when he visited Pakistan recently.
That's right.
So he knew me a little bit. How are you, Dr. Sami?
I'm good. How are you? Good.
I'm fine. So I'm a full-time radiologist in Pakistan and did my FCPS radiology 4 years back. And I'm not done with MLE yet, and I feel like it's a really hard thing for me to do in MLE, but I am quite interested in doing fellowship in USA. For that reason, I joined this meeting to get a know-how that if somehow I get a courage to do an MLE, what chances I may get to get a fellowship in USA, how it may help me in my future, and would I be able to do boards in radiology over there. So I just wanted to have a brief overview about the things in American Board of Radiology, how the things are over there. That's why I am here with you people and wanting to know a little bit about the things.
So let me answer that question for you specifically about the fellowship, right? Because you're a radiologist. So the ABR does have something called a fifth pathway program. You can Google this and go to their website, but we talked to a lot of radiologists who've done 3 or 4 fellowships. I think 4 fellowships. And once you do 4 fellowships, you're allowed to sit for the ABR exam, get board certified, and then apply for licensure. And they have it's called a fifth pathway. So very possible to do. There's a lot of people doing it, actually. We get a lot of calls from radiologists who've done it. I'm not sure how exactly the finances and the visa and all that kind of stuff work, but there's a way to do all that, right? Like, so you'd probably have to apply for a visa and do that. And I'm not sure about the salary and all that, but I've heard both that it's both paid and unpaid fifth pathway for radiologists to do that. So you want to like Google, right? Fifth pathway and ABR.
Okay.
Just call the ABR. You just call them.
Okay.
And then you could probably also talk to different academic centers that offer radiology residencies, and they will guide you in terms of how that is. And so I've seen radiologists who go from fellowship to fellowship to fellowship, and then they apply for the board, and then they, jump in, and then they get board certified, and then apply for the H-1 visa, and do all that kind of stuff. There is a pathway to do it. Yeah.
But in any way, I need to done with my MLE first, right? Or is there any way where I can not do the MLE and right away
you have to? Yeah. So what does USMLE stand for?
US Board of Recognition of my medical degree.
No. Does anybody know what USMLE stands for?
United States Medical Licensing Examination.
Yeah. Did you get that, Saba? United States
I got
Medical Licensing Examination. It's a licensing exam. It has nothing to do with your ABR or fellowships or anything like that. So if you want to get a license to practice in the US, you have to do USMLEs. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it may vary from fellowship to fellowship. Whether I want to do a license and work in USA, then I need to do an MLE. And if I do not want to do a practice over there, then I can directly go for any fellowship if they give me a chance.
Yeah, I mean, you could go for a fellowship and then you're saying go back to Pakistan and then practice there.
Okay, I got it.
No,
it depends if
like, what's your goal there? Like, are you wanting to do a fellowship for 1 year and then go back to Pakistan and then practice for a year, or what's your goal?
Yes. Primarily this one. I wanted to do a fellowship from USA, 1 or 2 fellowships, and then I wanted to come back to my home country.
Yeah, I think that's very possible. You just have to reach out to the institutions and they could do that for you. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Sounds good. Any other questions anybody else has?
Oh, well, I have a question regarding the home country residency. Does it help in any way when you are applying for radiology? If
you're a radiologist already, you mean?
Yeah.
I think it's definitely a feather in your cap. Like, because think about from the program director's point of view, right? They're not just looking to train you. They're actually looking for somebody to come and do a job. Like, you actually perform a service in the hospital. So if you already know your basic physics and you know what an x-ray is, an ultrasound is, a CT and MRI is, you're already ahead of the game. So a lot of radiologists probably have a leg up to get into a radiology residency, but not necessarily so. It also depends on how you communicate and perform in your interview. There's a lot of different things that go on to get a residency. So they're going to look at the entirety of the picture that you have. Like, just think about it this way, like, it's a job interview, right? At the end of the day. So whatever program director you go in front of, they're thinking, okay, do I want this person sitting in my residency in my hospital working with us for the next 4 years, right? So, are you personable? Are you knowledgeable? Do you have the skill set to do the job, that sort of thing? Do you seem like you're going to be a fit? It's a lot to try to determine based on, an hour, maybe maximum interaction. So that's why they have rank order lists. They'll rank people, and some of it is just random. Like, if you have 15 candidates, like, the top 5 are probably going to all be good, right? So it's very subjective sometimes, but your goal is to get in there and make a really good impression for the program director, and try to get them to, rank you high. That's really what your goal is, right?
Thank you.
So, yeah, like having you really high USMLE scores. Like we've had many externship students over the years, and we've seen people who should have definitely matched. We thought, like, for sure this person's going to match. Really high USMLE scores, did great in our teleradiology externship, did great in their other externships and rotations and whatnot, and got like 10, 12 interviews and then got matched nowhere. And then we see people who, the scores aren't so great. They're not very personable. We're like, okay, there's probably a low probability they're going to get anywhere. Maybe they only got like 2 interviews, and then they match. So unfortunately, there's a fair amount of luck that is part of this process, which is terrible, because you put so much time, effort, and money into this profession, and your fate is, so much up in the air based on subjective measures, based on just things beyond your control, right? So that's the challenge,
And I have a question to you about what do you think on broad versus targeted application process?
So refine what you mean by that. What does that mean by broad versus target? What do you mean by that?
So there are about 190 programs currently offering radiology training, residency, and some of them have AMG, for instance, some doesn't. Also, some of them are academical center, which prefer to take students from United States schools, and some of them doesn't review. Also, some of my faculty told opinion that it's anyway better to apply broadly anywhere, but it's kind of budget consuming.
Yeah. I mean, it's exactly what you said. It's budget consuming, right? But put it in context in terms of how much time and effort, blood, sweat, and tears and money you've already spent, right? So I guess my answer would be go broad, number one. Number two is don't let the application fees necessarily deter you, because you just never know where your application is going to get traction sometimes. I mean, if you've got good USMLE scores, you have good letters of recommendation, and you've got, what you think is a good application, you just don't know where it's going to get traction. Whoever you may be applying to, I don't know, some Ivy League program, and the program director happens to be, a foreign medical graduate from your ethnic background, or, some of those soft factors come into play. And they're like, okay, we want to at least bring this person in for an interview. And this kind of stuff happens all the time. So you have to keep a balance, right? Like, let's say let's say there's 200 programs, right, in radiology. If 100 programs are going to say no, like, will applying to 101 or 150 increase your chances? It could, but there's probably going to be some point of diminishing return that you're going to experience. Like, there's a reason why 100 programs may have not called you for an interview. And then I've seen people who apply to 20 programs and get all 20 interviews, right? So much of it has to do with your personal application itself, right? It's not, it's just, there's so many variables, right? You just don't know who's looking at your application, what their mood is that day, like the person that, is going to interview, are they out sick? And then you get somebody else who, just doesn't like you. I mean, there's so many factors that go into it. The soft factors are so many that so I'd say go broad, but at some point there's going to be a diminishing return. So don't apply to don't apply to 200 programs. Like, I don't know. I mean, definitely go broad. Like, I mean, 50 is a decent number, I would think. I mean, some people go spend the money, go 100. It just depends. Like, some people will apply to 150 programs year after year after year and not get a single interview. And then they got to look at how can they bolster their application, right? What's wrong with their application that's not getting them enough traction? If you have low USMLE scores, that's going to be a problem, right? Because the
if there are no any interview, it's probably just some red flags on that application. But in general, yes, I see.
Yeah, and I'll tell you right now, like the students that we've seen, we've had several hundred students come through our externship program, and I've just seen over the years the USMLE scores are higher and higher and higher. And I mean, there's a lot going on there, but like I only had 6 weeks to study for my USMLE step 1. I had 2 weeks to study for my step 2 and no time to study for my step 3. That was just the way St. George's had it paced. They had it paced parallel to an American curriculum. And I did all my rotations in the United States. But, if you have 2 years that you study the step 1 USMLE, like that's a lot of time. And I know foreign grads are spending some foreign grads, especially the high scores. Well, I'll take that back. Some people are just naturally brilliant and they just take the exam and they get 99%. But some people spend 2 years and, they're getting into the 90s. Now, that does bolster their chances of getting noticed. If you have a 95 percentile score, you're going to get noticed. And, if your personal statement is good and your letters of reference are good, you're probably going to get an interview, right? As opposed to somebody with an 85 who's got a whole bunch of stuff behind them. So there is some score-based stratification, and high scores definitely help. So it's just the reality. What it is.
So I just wanted to add a little something in here too, is that you don't only have to apply to schools that are like IMG, FMG friendly. What you need to do is your research on who are their current residents, who are their current fellows, what kind of students are they accepting? Because just if they don't say they're quote unquote IMG friendly, doesn't mean they're not going to accept you. And I just want to give you a really great example. He wasn't an extern. He was one of our scribes, and he was one of our leading scribes in our practice. And he worked with multiple radiologists, way more than full time. He came to us because he didn't match his first year. He was applying to surgery. And so what happened was he built up his resume. He got to know all these radiologists, all this ins and outs of everything. And he, in between time, he bolstered his resume by taking his both parts of step 3. And so then he could add that on there as well. And so then the next cycle, he matched surgery at a quote unquote non-FMG, IMG friendly program in California, of all places, which is super hard to match FMGs, IMGs. So he's excelling and teaching them radiology, believe it or not. He sends us cases. So that's another thing to just consider as well. Do your research on who is behind the program, who's there currently, who was there in the past, and that will really help you.
That's a really good point Rhonda makes. If you applied to the match and you didn't get in, you're going to have to make some radical changes to your application. Like, there's probably a reason you didn't get in. So you have to change something significantly, because the next cycle around, they're going to ask you, okay, what changed between last year and this year? Like, what did you do that was constructive to you becoming a positive member of this residency program, right? So if you just drove Uber or did something else completely different, that's not going to add to your application. You're going to have some significant U.S. clinical experience, research, something along those lines that's going to show them that you improved your application compared to last year. Now you should get noticed. So, the example Rhonda gave was great, because that guy, I mean, he became a stellar scribe with us, and he learned a tremendous amount of radiology. And he's a surgery intern right now, and he sends us cases, and it's really awesome to see that progression, because he says he can look at a CT scan now and he can identify bowel obstruction, free air, fractures. And that's all the experience that he had with us, working with us. So what else? What other questions can we answer for you?
We're also hiring for scribes if you want to bolster your resume.
Yeah. Let's talk about that briefly. We do have a teleradiology externship program that's 4 weeks, and it's a structured program. There's teaching. You get to work live with radiologists, and you get a lot of recommendation. And then after that, you have the ability to add to your U.S. clinical experience on your CV by working with us as a teleradiology scribe. And when you work as a teleradiology scribe, like 6 months a year, you're going to learn a ton of radiology. So when you go on that interview, you're going to be able to talk intelligently about all kinds of radiological exams. And we've had a lot of externs who've gone on their interviews, and they said that one of the first things they ask about is, tell us about your experience at Chicago Tele. What did you do? How was your externship? What did you learn as a scribe? And they can just start rattling off of a bunch of stuff. We even had a pre-med student who became a really good scribe, and she talked about her radiology experience with us, and that helped her get into med school as well. So,
and she's an Ivy League, finishing up her first year right now.
Yeah, she's an Ivy League med school.
Yeah. So who haven't we heard from? I know we have someone new, and I'll probably butcher your name, but is it Adelet?
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
My name is Adilet. I am from Kyrgyzstan. It's country in Central Asia. I am a radiology residency in my home country. And I am at the beginning on my way to pass USMLE step exams. And for now, I am preparing for USMLE Step 1 exam.
Okay. Welcome. You're a radiologist right now? Your residency, or your?
Yes, I am. I will finish my radiology residency in this summer.
Wow.
Oh, very good. Right. Well, you should definitely consider joining our externship program and then working with us as a scribe. We've worked with many radiologists from different countries, and it's definitely going to bolster your chances if you want to apply to radiology to get into a radiology residency.
It sounds great.
That's very exciting.
Right. And then we have somebody named Mariam who's on the phone.
Oh, right, Mariam just completed our program, gave excellent presentation. All of our presentations are excellent.
Yes. Hi, Mariam. How are you?
Hello. Fine, thank you. How are you doing?
Good. What was your experience like with our externship?
I really liked it. It was very beneficial for me because it was my, I had overview of how is teleradiology done and how radiology is done basically in US, because it's very different in my country. I'm from Georgia and it's totally different. I'm also in radiology residency here, but the structure is completely different here. And this externship helped me to decide that I wanted to apply for US residency, because I've been thinking about it for some time, but I was not sure. And this externship really helped me with making this decision.
Well, that's great to hear. That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks for that feedback.
Yeah, thanks, Mariam.
Yeah, we appreciate that. We definitely want to get you on a video testimonial. So definitely get in touch with us. We'll do that. And Rondo, make sure we get that and add it to our testimonials file. We have, if you go on our YouTube channel, there's a playlist called Testimonials. And I think we have like something like 27 video testimonials of our externs. And so definitely watch those. And we've had hundreds of students come through. So we didn't get testimonials from everybody, but there's a good representation. But I appreciate that feedback, Mariam.
And I got to get your presentation up on YouTube and on our website.
Definitely want to see that. Yeah.
It was excellent. Oh, so we
Thank you.
just had Horia Abasi just join us. That's exciting.
Yes.
How are you? I don't know if she can hear.
She's just
Oh,
muted.
she's on mute.
Yeah. Corey, are you there? You're on mute right now. We'll come back to Horia.
Okay.
What about Fevin Saleh? Somebody join. Am I saying that right?
Mm. Oh,
Nope,
they just
on.
popped out.
Nope. Okay.
So what about Vladislav? If you want to just kind of catch us up about you.
Yeah, what are you up to?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. First of all, thank you for this Q&A session. I'm very happy to meet you all virtually. As you told about a great example of one of your scribes, I also I have also matched to only preliminary position, so I haven't matched the radiology first time, and I'm gonna be trying to match radiology this year. And I was thinking about your words about not slight change, but crucial change in change of the application. I mean, if I currently do not know what was wrong with my application, like what can I do? Like,
That's a great question. So let's dive into that. Let's dive into your application. So what do you have in your background? Are you, just refresh, are you a radiologist right now in your country?
I'm finishing my radiology residency in my home country this year.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
What country is that?
Russia.
Oh, awesome. Is there any particular area of radiology that you like?
Interested in or have research or
Yeah.
I mean, I have a few articles about pelvic not really radiology. It was urology radiology.
Okay.
So probably abdominal and pelvic radiology. Yeah, but it was during my university years, and after that I had only oral presentations, posters, not
on pelvic radiology specifically.
Different topics like musculoskeletal radiology, abdominal radiology, mostly. Yeah.
Okay. So this is what I would suggest to you. This is what you should do. Okay, because put yourself in the director's shoe, right? Like in their seat. They're looking at you and they're like, okay, what kind of an asset can this person be? If you're just, let me ask, were your USMLE scores stellar, high, good, or were they just passing? Don't tell me your score.
I mean, according to the information in the internet, they are just average, like these scores.
Okay. And that's fine. That's fine. It's your scores are your scores, but you got to play the cards that you're dealt, right? So now what can you do to improve your chances, right? So you have to distinguish yourself from the 1,000 other people. Like,
sure.
What's going to remain memorable, right? So let's take pelvic radiology, for example, right? So do you have a YouTube channel? Do you have a LinkedIn page?
Nah, not really.
All right. How much does it cost to get those things? YouTube channel's free, right?
Yeah.
LinkedIn page is free, right? Could you do a bunch of videos about your specific interest in pelvic radiology? I'm just going to pick that as opposed to just generally everything, right? Could you become, on a small scale, an expert in pelvic radiology pretty quickly by doing like maybe 20 or 30 videos on it?
I definitely can try this, but I
could do it.
I don't. No, yeah, I don't have, but I don't have any experience of like creating any contents or whatsoever. Like, but I probably
you're a medical graduate, right?
Yeah.
Do you know a guy named Mr. Beast? He's a YouTuber. He's like,
yeah, sure,
23 years old. Right?
Famous.
There's 13-year-old girls who are doing YouTube videos and content, all that kind of stuff, right? So how difficult is, if you can get through med school and go to radiology, how difficult is it going to be for you to learn content creation?
Probably it's possible, at least.
Not only possible, you need to do it, right? Like, believe me, I went through this evolution myself, like, to be honest with you, right? So if you look, I have YouTube videos going back maybe 5-6 years. And if you look at my initial videos, they all suck. They're terrible. But I just kept doing them, right? And they just like, kept plodding away little by little by little. Now they're getting more better. Now I had to teach myself video editing. I just did it, right? It's like, now I can take a YouTube video. I'm going to take this video. We're going to produce it with music and, subtitles. I know how to do all that myself. I just do it myself. I used to pay somebody to do it. I don't need to because they work too slow for me. I just do it myself.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I'm going to produce this video right after I get off, right? And add it to a playlist, do all that kind of stuff. I learned how to use an email autoresponder. So people come to my website. That's how you came to us, right? You got on our list. We have an autoresponder. I can send out emails. Like I learned that basic stuff. My point is develop a presence on the internet. I think every med student, every foreign medical graduate should be doing this immediately. Get a LinkedIn profile, get a YouTube channel. Do minimum 2 things, right? And if you want to go further, you can do Twitter, but you don't need to do that. Because what's going to happen is that program director, if they find your file interesting, they're going to, what's the first thing you do when you want to know something about somebody? Rhonda, what do you do?
Google the heck out of them.
Try to find some information.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You guys probably Googled me, right? If you put my name in,
Sure,
you get all kinds of information. But you guys all did it, right? So why would a program director be any different?
Yeah, you're right. And
like if your name comes across and they're like, oh, this guy seems interesting. His scores aren't the highest, but let me Google him. Let me figure out if they find nothing about you whatsoever. That basically says that like you put no effort, no like interesting stuff, no content up. Like this is the day and age we live in now. Like when I did radiology residency, we didn't have any of this. It was paper applications back then. But now I gotta find out who you are. Are you a criminal? Were you like in some weird TikTok video? Like they're gonna figure this stuff out, right? About you. But if the first 20 results are you talking about your specific interest in pelvic radiology and how 15 things about the female urethra and all the MRI findings associated with it, they can be like, you know what, that guy could be an asset or that gal could be an asset to our program, right? Like you want enough out there so that, like, you know what, let's bring this guy in for an interview, right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, and Vlad, I just want to tell you that if Dr. Sami is able to do it, this is a guy who cannot even put a shelf together.
Yeah.
And he can figure this all out. You definitely can do it. There's apps, all sorts of stuff that make it super easy for you to do it. And they don't have to be long, you can just have 5-minute clips because the shorter, the better, right? They're not going to sit there for like a lecture. They want to see, oh, this is really cool aspect on the female urethra, right? So I'm telling you, you're young, you're smart, you're a doctor, you can figure out how to make a little video, and that's when people pop up.
If I was to Google Vladislav Zamakin, I don't know if I said that right, but
yeah, that's right. That's right.
What would I find right now?
I'm not sure.
Probably not a lot, right?
Yeah.
So just think about, again, perspective is necessary. You've put all this time, effort, money into getting yourself to a position to get in front of a program director. You got to assume they're going to Google you. They're going to find your LinkedIn profile, if you have one, a YouTube channel. And I promise you, like, none of the foreign grads are doing this. Barely any of the US grads are doing it, right? Because you're just not in that gear. You're not thinking about it. If you're like 1 out of 100 people they Google and you've got like a whole YouTube channel and LinkedIn profile and all your experiences are listed, where you've done your research, like your experiences, volunteer mission to some place, I don't know, where you're like helping out with something and there's video of you like reading x-rays in the middle of the jungle for free for some tribe in Africa, like that's going to create a ton of impact. Like that's going to be something like, hey, so Vlad, tell me about, your experience in Africa, wherever you were. What was that like, right? They want to know something more about you other than, are you just another robot coming through and just gonna, just plod through? Because medicine doesn't have room for robots anymore, to be honest with you. It's like they want interesting people. They want people who are going to come in and contribute and make a difference, right? It's just not enough to just be a robot coming through medicine anymore. So that's what they're looking for. And if you do it, you're going to do what 100 other people didn't do, and you may surpass somebody who has really high stellar scores, but very dry letters of recommendation and nothing on the internet, right?
Yeah. And may I ask you one question more?
Yeah.
Once we are in the middle of the matching process, once we send our applications to different programs, how can we increase our chances to be invited to the interviews? Like once we're in the middle of the process, let's say. Yeah.
Once you send it out, like you got to. Mm-hmm. That's the wrong time to figure out how to increase
of course.
your chances.
Yeah. But is there anything I can do? Like
you got to create a presence online. Like that work has to be in a year in advance. Create a presence online that, you know, there may be software out there already, to be honest with you. Like they may have software where they just download every person's information. Mm-hmm. And the software goes out and they tell them ChatGPT may be doing this. They may tell, you know, and some app may be doing this. They're like, let's just download 1,000 applicants who come in, and they tell ChatGPT, like, find me the most interesting top 50 applicants. And it goes out and scrapes all the content on these people and presents them in rank order. And the people at the top may not have the highest scores. Right. So I think like you have to differentiate yourself. It's not enough to just differentiate yourself on your CV and on your personal statement, like go out and beyond. Right. So, yeah, because if you're invited to an interview, they're definitely Googling you.
So one of the things also too is the power of LinkedIn, right? Because that's a whole network of professionals. You have department head professionals, you know, you've got the department chairs, you've got, you know, the head of the residency program on there, all of that. So it's like the Facebook for professionals. Get on there, make the connections, have your posts be on there, do a one-liner of an interesting case that you saw. People are going to like it, comment, get to know you. And so you're going to build really those important professional connections through, you know, the adult Facebook, LinkedIn. So, you know, request us, request Dr. Sami, follow, you know, and you're going to get linked literally to all of these people who are going to help you build a great network.
Yeah. Just an aside note, this is just iced tea right here. It looks like something else, but I got a couple of more on that one. So
I fresh brew iced tea here.
Iced tea, our glass looks like that. So yeah, another strategy like off of what Rhonda said is if you have a solid LinkedIn profile, again, it takes weeks and months to develop. That won't happen overnight. But go friend residents at residency programs, fellows, attendings, program directors, right? If you've got meaningful content on your profile, they may accept that. And then a year in advance, if you're posting interesting stuff and those attendings or that program director, the resident is like looking like, wow, this is really cool. Who is this guy? Right? Oh, he applied to our residency. We need to call this guy in for an interview, right? So these are some things you can do to bolster your file. Like we don't live in a vacuum anymore, right? So there's a lot of things you can do on the front end that you have to do if you're an international medical graduate to make yourself stand out. You know, maybe the U.S. guys don't have to do it so much, but us foreign guys, we gotta differentiate ourselves because the volume of people is so much, right? Like everybody wants your spot.
Yeah, guys and gals.
Guys and gals, like they want your spot because that's their, you know, it's like a lottery ticket almost. To be honest with you, like you know. You get into U.S. medicine, like let alone the practice aspects of it. You become a medical entrepreneur. I mean, there's the upside is tremendous, right? So.
And Dr. Sami and Rhonda, correct me if I'm wrong, but this might seem like a small thing, but I would make sure your CV is also clear and concise and easy to read. There's programs that can help you do that too, so that they don't have to search for your education and the CV or search for any history or what you've done. Just make sure that it's very clear, the time frames, where you did what you did and exactly what you did.
And I
That's a
totally agree
great
with
comment.
you.
It's a
Yeah.
great point. Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
maybe share your screen, or maybe Jen, if you could share your screen, just show them my CV,
that's a
because
great idea.
we I'll tell you, like, while you're getting that up, we hire radiologists and we see a lot of radiologist applications. And I'm talking about US board certified, US trained, Harvard, Stanford, pedigreed, like all that stuff. And we'll get their CV and it's a Word document in Times New Roman and it looks terrible and it's like inaccurate. Like I can't tell you how many times that happens. So if you're a foreign medical graduate and you have a well organized, graphically pleasing CV with your picture on it, I mean, that's going to be appealing, right? So why don't we share that screen? We'll show them what that looks like.
Okay.
And while Jen's pulling that up, the CV, and that's a great point that Jen brought that up, is you want to make sure that you have no gaps on your CV.
Yeah,
Yes.
great point.
That's a really big thing. So if you have gaps, you want to make sure you do something where they're filled. So
Yep.
Can you see?
yeah, that's excellent.
Okay. Okay.
So
So
I didn't design this. Rhonda and Jen designed this for me.
This is how all of our CVs are formatted.
So you want to have location, you want to have the
Mhm.
dates, you want to have the dates
Mhm.
consistent across the entire thing. You don't want to change the format up across different things. And listen, if is something as tiny as you helped out at a local food pantry for X amount of times, anything, volunteer work, nothing is too little.
Make
So
sure sorry, Rhonda.
that's okay.
Make sure your name and address and everything is on every single page as well.
Yeah.
We've got
Like,
skills.
my skills, my licenses.
Yep.
Yeah.
These are all the state licenses Dr. Sammy has. This is a continuation of his work history. And then here at the bottom, we've got his name and contact info again.
So it doesn't have to look exactly like this, but something where it's like clear, right? Like it happens all the time. Like we just get terrible, non-graphical, not organized CVs from radiologists who've been practicing for years, right?
And it's always really, really important to put something a little catchy like this little description that we have of Dr. Sami. You really want to say something kind of good and catchy about yourself. Something that just really stands out. You want to keep it short. You want to keep it sweet. You don't want to make a big, huge paragraph because let's be honest, no one's going to read that. You want 1 to 2 lines, nice and short. And then the additional thing is, a lot of people put all of their publications and research on a CV. And what we find is that it's kind of a bit of a waste of time because again, nobody's going to read all of that. They're going to do a quick glance, but when they get to the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th page, I mean, they've given up. So, there's interesting ways to package all of your research, all of your articles, exactly in the way that Dr. Sami was talking about it. Package it into YouTube, right? Bring up your article that you wrote on your research, talk about it, discuss it, 5-minute clips. Part 1, part 2, follow up on my research on, complex pelvic fractures or whatever. So instead of just making those be long add-on pages to your CV, make it be just short little videos and
make a digital CV.
Exactly.
A video CV.
A video CV in an interesting way that people are, going to want to look at it and not lose interest in it. So.
And we created this on Canva. You may have heard of that. It's really simple to use.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions about that?
Yeah, I have a question, honestly. I mean, this CV looks perfect, and but from a perspective of an IMG, I mean, in my CV there are a lot of stuff that is, let's say, completely unknown for the US physicians, for example. So my question is, how how important it is to put all my experience, even unknown, totally unknown for the
Like
US.
what's an unknown? Give me an example of an unknown experience.
For example, like a student society and what I did in this student society about, like, for example, linguistic society in my university, or like surgery society in my university, like that.
I would include stuff that just, again, put yourself in the chair of the program director.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that's really cool. Whatever the linguistic society thing you did, like if you were translating radiologic findings in Russian into another language or something like that, like that's something very unique to you. I would really lean into that and put that in your CV. Like I would put all those experiences in there. Now, if you're teaching underwater basket weaving at 20,000 feet, like that's not very relevant, right? So if you're, something related, like an angle to radiology, like if you, I don't know, you're a social media editor for radiology teaching videos, and you can do that, within 5 minutes. And there's there's like 100 TikToks of you doing it, showing a chest X-ray, and then all the different consolidations, and like this is a skill that you have. I would lean into that, put that in there, right? So relevant experiences. I mean, quirky things. I mean, that's always interesting.
Mm-hmm,
I would lean into those things. Like that's it defines you. Like don't leave out stuff that doesn't that defines you. Like do not leave that stuff out. I'd put that in there, but incorporate it in a tasteful way that somehow relates to showing that you've been an asset to their program, right?
And it's not very boring, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you did do the underwater basket weaving, okay, cool. Make that into a cool YouTube or TikTok. I mean, hey, not many people know how to do it.
Yeah, have an X-ray ready to go. Like you snorkel and read X-rays at the same time. Like, I mean, it's weird, but it's like it's something different, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of possibilities. Like you should take away from this that hopefully this expands your horizons as to how you want to present yourself, because you just don't want to be a robot. Don't present yourself as a high achieving test taking robot, because there's thousands of those, right? Like what's unique about you where they want to work with you for the next 4 years, right? So
yeah.
So we have 10 minutes left. What else can we answer? Any other pressing questions?
So could you please tell us more about the externship you offer?
Yeah, absolutely. Rhonda, you want to take it away? Rhonda and Jen are the experts on the externship.
Yeah, sure. Actually, I'll let Jen take it. I talked a lot.
Yeah.
Our externship is 4 weeks long, and it's done completely over Zoom with 1 to 2 radiologists, 1 week with one, and then the next week with another radiologist. So you're seeing, obviously it's all teleradiology, but you are seeing the images real time with each radiologist. You see how the scribes interact with the radiologist. Our doctors all love to teach, so you can ask questions, obviously, when appropriate. There's, it can be, up to 200 and plus cases per night or per shift. So you're going to get a lot of experience and see a lot of different things.
What's a regular schedule of a call for shift?
So
what
the schedule, the schedule, it's we have what we call 7 on. So that means the radiologist reads 7 days in a row. And then there's the 7 off, which means that you'll be having sessions kind of like this, but with images on the screen, and Dr. Sami will be there. I'll be there. We'll be having teaching sessions where we're going to have images up. We're going to be showing things. You're going to be asked questions, and you're going to be learning all the ins and outs. You're going to be learning something that's super important. And what that is how to create reports as a US hospital report. right? So the whole structure, the whole format, how to name the fractures, like the way that we do them here in the United States, all of that type of thing. You know, I mean, pathology is the same, right? But it's just a different way that it's done in the United States. So you're going to learn all of that. So, and there'll be multiple sessions in that, you know, week hosted by Dr. Sami. So it's very, during that week, it's very interactive. So that's the schedule. It's at the 7 on goes at nighttime. It's 5 p.m. to 2 a.m. and that's Central Time, and that's Monday through Sunday. And then on the quote unquote off weeks where it's the big interactive sessions like this, it's in the afternoons, and you know, we'll give you what the set schedule is. Additional parts of the externship are on your 7 on, you're responsible for creating case logs of things that you do throughout the day, throughout the evening, of the cases that you're seeing, you know, and you want to make them a good combination of the x-rays, the plain, you know, the plain films, the ultrasound, the MRI, all modalities. And that's also helping you create the reports. You know, 10 of those a night. If you want, you can do more. A lot of people do more. And then a presentation, like you heard us talk about Miriam's presentation, everyone's presentation. So you're responsible for a presentation. And the way that we do that is, you know, this is radiology, right? So we say that you are not a radiologist and you are a primary care physician. You're coming up with your differential diagnosis based on a physical exam. Or you got blood work in also, you're looking at the blood work and you're doing a physical exam, and then you're coming up with your 3 differential diagnosis and going to care and treatment based on that. Well, your presentation is making your diagnosis and your differential as if you are the radiologist. So patient comes into the ER, it's a female, you know, and she's got bilateral lower quadrant pelvic pain. So, you know, first we did the x-ray, we see nothing, then let's get the CT going, or, you know, we'll do a pelvic ultrasound. It shows this. What now we need an MR. So what you're doing is you're using the radiology to come up with your differential diagnosis and then your treatment plan. So that's how the presentation is. So you're the ER doc, you got the case, and the ER doc, you're the ER radiologist, and the ER doc saying, what do I do now? What do I do? Radiologist, diagnosis for me. So, and that's, we joke here in the US and call it primary care radiology, because Dr. Sami can speak to the fact of that's what it is. So
yeah,
that's what your presentation would be like. So
yeah, oftentimes the radiologist is the first person to see the patient, right, through imaging, and we'll call the physician with a critical finding, and they're like, oh, I haven't even seen the patient. So that is not uncommon here. So you'll learn all about that kind of stuff that goes on.
And if you're interested, you can just reach out to us, and there's a few documents we require, you know, sign a HIPAA form, and there's a fee, and then we can get you going like immediately because it's all remote. So
yeah. So Jen, where do they apply to?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Jen. Just tell them how to apply. Yeah.
So you can just email Rhonda and I right now, and our email is support, the word support, at chicagotelerad.com. And we'll get you all the information and the exact schedule and documents we need, etc.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
What was your question?
Yeah.
Is there any waiting list?
There's not a waiting list. And you know, because you're interacting and working with 2 radiologists, you know, we do provide you 2 letters of recommendation as well. So, and the good thing about us, we're always here for support, any questions, anything like that. We make ourselves available, email, WhatsApp, you know, etc. So we're always here to support, give advice, have these sessions. everything. So, and any ideas and topics or anything that you guys would like to discuss for future sessions, you know, you can always just email us or text us or whatnot. So,
yep, sounds
Great,
good.
great. Yeah. And
Awesome.
sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
We'll
I just wanted to add that from a perspective of a person who had this externship last year, I mean, apart from the US format of the reports, let's say, like the radiology aspect is huge. Like it's immensely helpful this 4 weeks. Like you will have an experience of hundreds, if not thousands of images, and the opportunity to ask questions whenever you want. Like it's everything that is needed, let's say, from my perspective. I might be wrong. And I just wanted to ask probably one of the last questions. Maybe it's not that relevant, but still, like how important is step 3 examination, like for getting into residency?
I think it's just good to get out of the way is the simple answer, right? Because otherwise what happens is if you get in based on step 1 and step 2, you start working, it's going to be hanging over your head. Like you still got to pass that step 3 exam to get a full medical license. So if you have the opportunity to study for it and get it done, but don't let that stop you from applying. Because, you know, program directors understand, like if you have really high, as an example, if you have really high step 1 and step 2 scores, but you don't have your step 3 done yet, they're going to make the calculation you're probably going to pass your step 3. If you have low scores on step 1 and step 2 and you don't have the step 3, it's kind of a red flag. They're not sure because you're not going to get much time to study during that internship year. So if you have a year to do step 1, step 2, and step 3, get them all 3 passed and out.
Great.
It's always going to be better. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
yeah.
All right, guys, that's the end of our time. So I appreciate you guys all being here. We're going to be producing this video and you'll see it on our YouTube channel and whatnot. And so we're going to do this every week. So hopefully new people come on, but you guys are welcome to come on every single time because of this discussion. I think was really helpful for both us and for you. So definitely join our externship program if you haven't done so and get in touch with Rhonda and Jen. Okay, so we look forward to seeing you guys on the next session.
One last thing just to add, if I don't have your contact information, please email support@chicagotellerad.com. Want to be able to stay in touch with you, want to be able to get you into our education chat as well. So you can see student presentations, etc. Join the externship program. So
sounds good. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you
very much. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.